This is a virtual reading of Conspirators, To Each His Own Agenda by Matt Gupta.
Chapter 54. The Trader's Gate. Alistair galloped well ahead of the army. His knights had trouble keeping up with him until he met the open gate at the Villam wall. A knight of Islesfield galloped out to meet him. "My Lord Alistair," he greeted, his pleasure at the sight of him evident, even with his helmet. "Welcome to the capital." "Is that a joke?" Alistair demanded. "No, my lord." The knight's smile dropped, becoming serious. "I have orders to welcome you and escort your lordship through the south gate. I will bring you to General Felthor's tent to await his return." "Where is he?" "Leading the attack on the city. His men are untrained and needed a strong commander." Alistair nodded. "Lead the way, sir. My army will arrive presently." At that point, his knights caught up with him. "Sound the trumpets," he instructed to his captain. "Let all the kingdom know we are here." The captain nodded and pulled a horn from his belt. "At least wait until I'm away," Alistair groaned irritably as he rode away. The remaining forces in Felthor's camp suddenly stood to attention from their drinks, talks and women as Alistair walked past. Many didn't know his face, but they knew his badges of office and armour. They bowed to him as the Prince of Seaward, and it irked Alistair's pride. They should be addressing him as the king, but he could not blame the men for a lack of discipline. Many of the men here would not see him again, nor would he see any of them. So he ignored them with the austerity expected from both a prince and a king. He marched into Felthor's tent, leaving his escort behind. He entered with a great fluttering of the canvas opening. He saw only Turgon lying on a bed chair, his leg held with 4 sticks in a brace. "Alistair." He blinked at his presence, struggling to sit up. "What in the name of my mother's cock are you doing here?" "Your mother's?" "Aye," Turgon growled, taking a long gulp of his drink. "I wasn't expecting you until, well, later. I sent word I would arrive by the evening. Now is the evening. How long until Felthor returns?" "Fuck knows." Turgon blew out air. He belched and looked around. "Is it night or day?" "Does it matter?" Alistair asked irritably, sitting beside him. Turgon shrugged his ignorance and lay back down. "What happened to you?" "Something to do with a horse, a white dress and something heavy." Turgon poured a drink. "I think there may have been a goat involved, but I may have dreamed that. Anyway, what took you so long? If anyone could take a city in a day, I would have bet money on it being you. I probably did as well." "I apologize for the inconvenience I caused you." Alistair rolled his eyes with a disapproving look down at Turgon. "Now I will go and see my army through the wall." "All right," Turgon toasted cheerfully. "I'll just lie here with my giant cock and no one to use it on." The army arrived in good time. Alistair couldn't stand by and simply order his men into forward march, so he went to find Pillimore. "My undersized friend," he greeted him. Pillimore raised a smirked eyebrow in response. "Do you have the strength to fight?" Pillimore spat. "You insult me, my king. You do have balls. My men are yours if you lead us." "I could always do with a good stabbing," Alistair smiled. "Knights," he called, "ride with me, and we will truly show them the meaning of a charge." The breach in the wall was on the far side, but it was the only way into the city that would allow for the horses. They dismounted and coaxed their mounts over the rubble from the attack. "I was expecting more dead," Pillimore complained. "Falthor has probably taken his dead from the breach," Alistair muttered. We won't rule long if we all die from plague. Let's move. I plan on killing someone myself." They moved through the city and followed the trail of destruction. They found the gate that Felthor's rangers had broken through. Here, unfortunately, Pilimor got his wish of the number of dead. The Dacians were laid out in a long line up the corridor to the gate, and they were strewn all over the gatehouse and the ram itself. The wall had been taken and then abandoned as the battle had moved on. It didn't seem to have been a long fight. The deaths were more spread out over the streets. Evidently, the defending forces seemed to have fled as soon as the gate was broken in. The retreat had moved to the high temple, despite the dead being scattered in every direction. Alistair had found that odd. Surely Dervin, a captain of the Citadel Guard, would want to return back to the place he'd consider home. They followed the path of destruction, however, and soon they found themselves at the rear lines of Felthor's army. "Move, you ignorant bastards," Pilimor shouted, forcing men aside. "Move aside for your king." The men parted, with discipline but without grace, knocking into each other and shoving each other aside. They finally made it to the front of the lines. Falthor was addressing the men, who were barricaded at the top of the stairs, while having nearly 700 men in hostage. "Captain Dervin, you have fought valiantly, far better than I would have expected. I congratulate you and I salute you. But now your fight is over. Your army is routed and the city is taken. Give up this fight, and you and your forces will be allowed to live with dignity. You have my word. We will give you positions in the new world we will have built here. All you need do is surrender." There was a long moment of silence, and then the doors to the high temple opened. 3 men exited, Dervin being supported by 2 of his men. He had moved up to walking, but it was clear it was causing him tremendous pain. They carried him to the top of the stairs and knelt slightly, for Dervin to lean on them. "General Felthor," Dervin called, his voice not nearly as impressively carried as Felthor's. "You have a reputation for being honorable and working for the good of the kingdom. But that counts for nothing now. You have betrayed every oath that makes you a soldier. Why should I believe any word that you give?" He let out a tremendous cough and spat blood. "Because it is not only my word," Felthor called back. "It is that of the new King Alistair." "I believe I can speak for myself," Alistair said smoothly, as he walked his horse to stand next to Felthor. Felthor did nothing to acknowledge his presence, except for a singular nod. "My Captain General speaks the truth. Surrender, and I shall spare the city. You have my word as well as Felthor's." "I fear, my prince," Dervin called back, "that your word has as equal worth to Felthor's. You, who would be called the Oathbreaker King in future. Why would I believe you, if you would break the most valued oath in the world?" "Because I am the victor in this battle," Alistair called back. "Right or wrong, oathkeeper or breaker, it does not matter. I claim this city and those within it by right of conquest. I do not need you alive to do it. It is far easier to kill you than negotiate with you. I wonder if you were removed from your perch, how many would preach war and doom?" Dervin had no answer to this. Felthor took advantage of the silence and whispered to Alistair, "Let us show them our intentions. There is little glory in a massacre, and I would see our conquered city in the light. Let us end this battle for tonight. Move your army into position in the morning, and you shall take the city for yourself." Alistair nodded and relayed the terms. "I will give you until morning to bring your answer. Heal your wounded and pray for your dead. We shall give them the funerals they deserve. Those who would attend are welcome to, without fear of death or imprisonment." He turned his head to the prisoners behind him. You have surrendered, good sirs. I give you your freedom. Return to your people, or return with me. He turned back and addressed Dervin directly. Survival means nothing if we are not free to choose it. Have your men chosen? Despite giving a resounding speech, Alistair was in a foul mood when he returned to the tent. Pilimur and Turgon were quite amused by his outbursts, but the others were very disturbed. The atmosphere had been rosy when they entered. When Feltor saw the others, he met them in turn. Pilimur had met Turgon with great enthusiasm. The two close friends were reunited after nearly half a decade apart, and they were quickly lost to conversation. Falthor addressed Lord Bane with courtesy, knowing him by the coat of arms on his chest plate rather than his face. His greeting to Baranis surprised them. They expected him to make the same mistake of addressing her as "my lady," as others did. But he addressed her as General, something that she appreciated enough to kiss him on the cheeks as they embraced in greeting. As Feltor addressed the others, Vitalian leant towards Baranis. "I have never seen you hold a man like that. Is Feltor a man you deem worthy?" "Feltor cannot give me children for as long as that arrow lives in his cock. I have considered it, though. In another life, maybe." "In another life, I may have been your lover," Vitalian pointed out. Baranis smirked and clapped a hand on his shoulder. She was pleased to see his hand was still on his dirk handle. "I don't need another life to have you, my friend. If I want you, I will have you." "Aye," Vitalian said stoically. "You are my queen. My life, my sword, and my cock are yours." Felthor met Cameron with a great hug. "My friend," he said, laughing and clapping him on the back. Alistair rounded on Felthor before he could get too comfortable. "You were ordered to siege the city, not take it. I can't even take the citadel in a fight. Is it my fault that the city was left without a defender?" Felthor retorted, his arms folded and calm, standing his ground against his liege. "We had hopes they would have someone at least familiar to war. Dervin is an accomplished warrior, but not a commander." "That city," Alistair pointed, "was manned by a force equal to your own. An army that size doesn't fall by accident. You should have waited. Now what will my conquest be remembered for? History will judge you as the victor because we say it will be. Will we?" Baranis placed her hands on her hips. "My 10,000 soldiers didn't march across the kingdom to clean up someone else's mess." "The men came for the city," Lord Bane agreed. "If those same men take it after others do all the hard work, then no one will fear them, and we may never win another battle again. The city must be taken by force, or everything will be for naught. How will we honor our dead or those who sacrifice at home for our cause? If we march into that city, we march to slaughter innocents and weapon-less soldiers. What renown is there in that?" Baranis stated. "Does it matter?" Turgon slurred. "When we march in there, those weaponless soldiers will rally to defend the city, and there will be a battle. We will make it as we will." "My crippled friend speaks true," Pilimur barked. He was little better in soberness. "The men have marched. Let them have their reward, and we'll clean up the shit later." "If we can avoid bloodshed, then we should," Baranis said grimly. "We should offer them another chance. If they refuse that, then we should kill them." "Let me talk to them," Cameron offered, and everyone looked at him as he broke his silence. "I am a citadel captain, and have been for longer than Dervin. If I order the men to throw down their arms, they will." "A brave offer," Alistair shook his head. "But no, diplomacy must not be an option, lest they accept. I will be the worst sort of tyrant if I attack and slaughter them after a truce, and then no one will acknowledge my rule." "Could we not ignore them then?" Baranis said. "Or order them into exile?" "Over 10,000 people are holed up in that temple district," and the surrounding streets. Felthor shook his head. The people we can set free, but the soldiers will prove to be very problematic in the future. Any lord that looks at us wrong will use them to turn against us. It will spell doom for many. If they cannot be brought to our side, then we must destroy them. Dervan was having a similar council in the High Temple. We must surrender. Those words had been uttered many times in almost every variation of the phrase, and it was growing sour in Dervan's mouth. Enough! He slammed his hand on the table over the cries of his guardsmen. You are right, we must surrender, but we cannot simply leave the city undefended to the mercy of Alistair. We must do it with leverage. We have the Princess of Seaward and her suckling babe. A guardsman, with one eye bandaged, put in. We offer her up to her father. 2 of our brothers stand over her in the throne room right now. A city for a well-born babe? Another guard, with fingers missing on his sword hand, spat. How disgraceful that the greatest city in the world is exchanged for something so low. Well, it does not matter what leverage we have. Alistair is the conqueror here. By law, he has the right to do whatever he wants to us. There is nothing stopping him from marching up here and killing us all. Then what do you suggest? We challenge him. With what? Dervan coughed blood. His army outnumbers us 10-1 now. We could not defend the city with its defenses at their best. How do we challenge him in a street? As men with honor to lose do, the one-eyed guard said solemnly. Conquest by single combat. In front of both armies, the winner takes the city. And who will fight for us? Sneered another guardsman. We have no champions here. We are the best spearmen in the world, the one-eyed guard puffed himself up. I would match any one of us against any of Alistair's lackeys. He is right, Dervan sighed slightly. This is our only chance. Then who shall fight for us? Commander or not, you are a cripple now. That is the question, a voice said from behind them. It was the Lord Warden. The Citadel guard scattered away from his presence, allowing him to approach Dervan in his wooden chair. Dervan sent them away with a wave of his hand and painfully leant forward to allow himself to talk quietly with the Lord Warden. You should have surrendered the moment Alistair opened his mouth. He will remember your defense and think it insolence, a rage he may take out on the people. I know, Dervan grunted as he adjusted himself. But how can I trust his word when he has done all of this? What will happen if he does break a vow to keep the city safe? The Lord Warden gazed at him with strong eyes. I have seen so many battles, both before my time as Lord Warden and during it, and I will say one thing I have learned from them all. The dead do not complain. Let the prince take the city, and if you die, you will die. This is your counsel. It is. I do not fear death, for that is what awaits me. When the prince takes the city, my duty is fulfilled, and history will not remember me, as it should be. What further treason should I fear? Alistair's army marched into the city. The entire army flooded the streets, encircling the High Temple district. Alistair and his commanders, along with Felthor and his own generals, were on horseback at the base of the temple. The sun had risen to show a blackened city, and hundreds of dead still littered the streets. Crows flew over the city, like a sea of locusts over the desert crops. Dervan was waiting at the top of the stairs with his citadel guards and as many soldiers that he could fit before the doorway to the temple. They were readied in a shield wall. My prince, he called down to Alistair, we have our answer for you. Choose your answer carefully, brother, Cameron called, standing by Felthor's horse. You can save all of our family here today. I surrendered to Alistair, though my pride made me hesitant. I am alive. I am proof of His Highness's mercy. as are all the survivors of the harbour city. Will you surrender? Alistair shouted to interrupt, his heart sinking. Aye, Dervin called, without hesitation. We will surrender to you when the temple plaza is stained with blood. We demand conquest by single combat. Alistair's army burst into laughter, led on by Pillimore. When Alistair calmed them down, he replied, Why would I give in to such an order, with you in no position to make demands? Baranis fidgeted on her horse. I make this demand of you. Surrender, unconditionally to me. Now. I have given you my terms. You will have the surrender. Choose your champion, unless you fear that you will lose. Alistair smirked and pushed a hair away from his eyes. If my man wins, you will surrender. And if mine wins, you will abandon the capital. Alistair fell silent as he thought about it. Pillimore growled in disgust. The fool thinks he can bargain with us, the insolence. Shut him up and signal the attack. I have a stinking hangover, and the only thing that will cure it is killing some Roman bastards. If you refuse this challenge, Baranis said, you will be branded a coward. Honor is one thing. Cowardice is worth much more. 100,000 men have not assembled here to see two men fight, Pillimore growled. Kill this fucker now. But it was Felthor's voice that brought him to his sense. What is one fight? There will be many more fights to come. We will win our honor there. Those men up there number 10,000 soldiers we can find useful. Let us not forget why we are doing this. Alistair nodded. Very well, he shouted up to Dervin. I accept your terms. Bring forth your champion. A hush fell upon the city. Not even the stray animals seemed to be making a sound. After a moment, the sound of heavy armor on stone began to echo around the temple stairs as the Lord Warden Commander of the Fountain Legion, Grand Master of the Wardens of the Sangreal, stepped forward and presented himself to Alistair as Dervin's champion.